Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live. Welcome to another episode of Under 1,000 Pod. This is the podcast on GP Snakes. I'm Gershon, just GP Snakes, where we bring on another reptile enthusiast, hobbyist, or breeder, and we get to know them a little better, ask them a couple questions. Also, a great way for me to network and get involved in the community a little more, because I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am an introverted person. So this is really getting me outside of my comfort zone and my box and making me have to talk to people, which I really like. Meeting a lot of new people, a lot of nice people, and making a lot more friends in this community. And I'm so glad I started this podcast. It's just amazing how much people have in common once we start talking. Besides the snake, we have so much other stuff in common, so it's really good to get to know other people and see their other interests besides the animals. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of people in the comments already. Really cool. Keys Constrictors, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for coming through. 403 Fauna, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Critical Constrictors, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Phil, what's up? Thanks for coming through. So you know how we do it. We're going to bring on our guests, but before we bring on our guests, let's go ahead and say thank you to our sponsor for this episode. So this episode is sponsored by Essential Royals. They're a ball python breeder. This is their second year breeding ball pythons. Had a great first year. It's a father and two sons breeding ball pythons. Go check out their Instagram. We're working on getting them a YouTube channel. We're definitely going to push them to that. But definitely go check out their Instagram. Thanks again for sponsoring this episode. All right, there you go. Appreciate the sponsor of the episode. FNA Balls, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Wiffles Morphs, I probably terribly pronounced that, but thanks for coming through. I'll talk to you later and figure out how to pronounce it correctly. Just so you know, I will pronounce your name wrong, and I don't mean it on purpose. It just happens. Herb Collectors, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Pipeline Pythons, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Wiz Constrictors, Reptiles, thanks for coming through. So, as I've already said, thanks to everybody that's come through so far. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest for this week. What's up? What's up? Thanks for coming. How you doing?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. So if you could, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and let them know what you breed.
Oh, I'm Kai, Lucas from Lucas Landon Royal. I breed ball pythons primarily. And I've started to dabble in a couple other species, but still breeding-wise, all ball python.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you started dabbling in other stuff too. Oh, I'm interested to see what that. Oh, well, see, now you're gonna have to be on another podcast. We're gonna talk about these other species, so we'll do that later in the year. We'll bring you back on and talk about that. But yeah, this is Kai. I know you guys are watching this channel because he has some amazing animals. He has a lot of DIY videos, building his own racks, which I've looked at a couple and was like, I think I might have to do that one. So I definitely know you guys have checked those out. But thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. I actually had a different intro plan, but I wasn't sure if it was family friendly. So that's why there was a slight pause. I was like, should I do it or should I not do it? I was like,
I was looking like, I was like, did he forget his name? Because you paused real. I was like, oh, come on, you got this. You got this. Now we're going to have to talk about that later because I want to know what that intro was. I do try to keep these family friendly because I get a lot of families watching me. So I try to keep it to where the kids won't have to cover their ears. But I'm very interested to hear what this intro is now. So we'll have to talk about that later.
I'll do the intro for you later after the show.
I appreciate it. James, thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Gary, thanks for coming through. Gray's Reptiles, thanks for coming through. I'm just trying to get everybody. Yep, that's everybody. I try to at least say hey to people that come through, just to show I still that I see them and I appreciate them coming through. Yeah, that's weird, but that's what I try to do. Uh, but so, if you haven't followed Lucas Landon, loyal, I can't talk.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, right?
It is. I've been trying to say it smoothly the whole day.
I know, it's my fault. It doesn't really roll off the tongue that well. It's like it's just my kids' names put together. And I was just like, let me tack on the word Royals at the end. That way I get to claim that name across all the different social media platforms.
Understandable. But if you haven't, go ahead and look in the description. His YouTube, his Instagram, his Facebook might be on there. All in the description. Go ahead and follow and hit that subscribe button. Are you on TikTok? Have the kids got you on TikTok yet?
I have like 2 followers on TikTok.
All right, let's get those TikTok followers up. Go hit them on TikTok as well. Make them start posting stuff on TikTok.
I gotta find different content for TikTok because I've been posting like the same stuff across all the media, all the social platforms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does anybody need to follow me on all 4 social platforms if I'm just posting the same thing? So I gotta find something different to make it interesting.
On my TikTok, I try to do pictures. I do in shed and out of shed, so I try to do pictures with that and do videos on TikTok and throw a little music to it.
Mm-hmm.
And every so often, I'll take a clip from my YouTube channel and put it on there and tell them to go watch the full clip, little stuff like that. But I am going to start branching out slowly. It's just trying to find the time between family, snakes, YouTube, live shows, editing. It is so hard to find the time.
It's tough.
Oh, it really is. It really is. Because you want to make sure you give every piece of this enough time, the appropriate time it needs. It's very difficult. But it's still fun. When it's not fun anymore, that's when you probably should think about cutting back. But that's what I was told.
Phil in the chat said I should dance. Are you saying I should dance on one of the in TikTok or what?
That could be the move.
You don't want to see that. I would lose those last 2 followers if I did TikTok.
You might do, or you might gain 62 more. You never know. TikTok is a weird place. It's a weird platform. Oh wow. So you've seen the show. You know how we do it on the show. We answer some questions, ask some questions. We get to know you a little better. Find out mostly stuff we probably might know about you, but might find some new stuff, and we have a little fun. So are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's hit with the first question. How long have you had your channel?
The Lucas Landon Royals channel I've had for 4.5 years. But I've had other channels prior. It was like about my fish, about my DIY fish stuff.
Okay.
Making filters, making medication and stuff like that. My very first, I think, video on that fish channel like went viral. Right? Not like it went millions or like millions of views, but it took off pretty significantly. And that kind of gave me a inaccurate impression of what YouTube can do. So I'm like, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. It seems so easy. I'm just gonna and like after a few days, YouTube reached out to me and was like, "Would you like to be a YouTube partner and like get paid for it?" And at first I was like, "No, this is a scam. I'm not doing this." and then my next few videos, like nobody watched them, and I was like, "Oh, now I know the hardship." And then when I decided to do Lucas Landon Royals, it became so hard to get that email from YouTube to be partnered in it, because then they changed the rules. You have to have like X number of hours, view hours, X number of subscribers, whereas before they kind of lowered the limitation of entry.
Gotcha.
But then I was like, man, I should have jumped on that bandwagon when I had the chance.
Yeah, when it is difficult when your first video you post up not trying goes a bit viral, and now you're like, oh, this is simple. Why are you guys acting like this? And then you see every other video just hit maybe 2 views, 5 views. And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
something broken. That can be very discouraging. Oh wow, that can be very discouraging. Hey Keisha, thanks for coming through. Oh wow. So how long did it take you to kind of rebound from that? I know that took a minute to you to go like, okay, I'm gonna have to put a little more work in this. This is not as easy as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I had to start over. I mean, the one with the fish, it was actually my personal account. And another funny story to that is I had no idea that YouTube and Google would just notify all my friends and family about my new videos. So when I put up like these stupid DIY videos of how to create a filter, like all my friends and family were like commenting and be like, "Hey, nice video." I'm like, "What? How do you know about that?" So when I decided to do the channel about my snakes, I was like, I have to make a new video. I mean, a new channel, one that's not going to bother the heck out of all my other friends and family members and people that I don't even know. Like my recruiters and stuff knew about my fish hobby for some reason because Google decided to tell them about it when I posted the video. So I was like, I don't need everybody in the world that I know to know about my snakes. So I was like, I want to start from scratch. So I created Lucas Landon Royals. The first few videos were tough. Like I thought they were going to be fairly simple. In my mind, they were going to be so smooth. And then when I turned that phone on, when I turned the camera on, and I'm just like, hello.
Yes. Everybody has that freeze moment.
Yeah, and after the hello, I'm like, all right, take two. So I ended up like having to script all my stuff because I couldn't remember what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So I scripted it, and in the beginning, I was putting like post-it notes on my phone, on the camera, on the wall, so I can spot those topics or read them off directly. And then I realized like that was still taking too long because it still forced me to remember and recall what I want to say. And then I was very choppy. Then I created a little program on because I'm a developer. So I created a little program on my laptop that would automatically scroll, kind of like a teleprompter.
Okay.
So I would type what I want, I enter it in there, and then it would slowly scroll, and then I would just basically read off of it. And I thought that was fine until people started commenting. It's like, why is this scripted? Why are you reading it? It's like, we can see your eyes move. So I was like, okay, I gotta get better at this. So it took some
definitely
practice.
See that.
I took some practice, and then you know, like I got more courage and just started to try to remember what I'm supposed to say, and I did like take after take after take. But of course, the more takes you do, the more editing that you have to do later on. But you know, after a while, I started to get feeling a little bit more natural. So now I do like maybe 2 to 3 takes, and then my editing is much shorter in terms of the time I have to spend on it, and it looks a little bit better too, right?
Yeah, it looks a lot more natural where you're not like, hey guys, how you doing?
Or like my head's not popping back and forth like, hi, how are you doing?
I've had that. That's one of the reasons why I stopped doing so many takes. Unless it's like terribly messed up, whatever's in there, I kind of leave it in because I was always trying to cut a moment where my head was in the same position so it didn't look so weird.
And I try some camera tricks too, so it doesn't look like, again, you don't want it to look weird. So I would have, you know, cameras at different locations, so they're different angles. That way, when I'm piecing together, like apart from take 1 and apart from take 2 and apart from take 3, I would switch the angle, make it look like I'm talking to a different camera every time on purpose.
Nice.
But then that got too complicated to set up. Right? Because I would have 3 cameras, and then later on I would realize that if I moved over a little bit, I'm out of sight from one camera and I can't use that one, and then it just gets complicated. So I was like, and the editing, the time editing increased because I now have 3 cameras to go through, constantly trying to sync all 3 of them together so I can cut them. Yeah, so I was like, no, this is not worth it, and YouTube's not paying me enough to do this. So I made my channel, it's more of just, you know, record keeping for me. So I know like, hey, what did I produce this season? If somebody wants to know what the parents are, I can send them a video. So it kind of helps in that sense. I'm no longer trying to strive for like 1 million subscribers or go viral or anything. I'm just throwing out whatever I have, and if it ranks high, then it ranks high. If it ranks low, then it ranks high. Just stressing over it doesn't help.
Yeah. Main Squeeze Reptiles, thanks for coming through. Appreciate that, Keisha. Yeah, let me know if you got any questions on my DUI racks. Or maybe she's talking about your no, maybe she's talking about mine. She could be talking about either one of our DUI racks videos. Because you have a nice collection of racks you've made. And I like that you haven't gone and got like an industry standard rack. You keep building your own racks. I know two reasons is because it helps on price, and then you can kind of customize it to what you need in your room. So that works even better, which is very smart. But it also gives you a particular look. It gives you a different look than everybody that has these ARSs. Don't get me wrong, I like ARS and Freedom Breeder. They're great. But then you kind of get that uniform look like everybody else too. Yours kind of stands out because they're self-made, homemade, and everything, and they're very well made. So the white pops in that room too. I don't know how it just does, and it looks like it makes that room look super big. I know you said you don't have a lot of space in that room, but it makes that room look so big.
Yeah, it's tight. It's a tight squeeze. I mean, if I pull out a drawer here and a drawer here, they're like touching my cheeks already. So yeah, it's pretty tight in there. But yeah, the white definitely helps. The camera, the light, like when the light bounces off of the white, it kind of makes it look like really, really bright. I get some comments that it looks like a hospital. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it depends on if you like hospitals, I guess.
True, very true. It does depend.
Yeah, but I also want to have everything look, like you said, uniform and look the same. So, and that's kind of why, I'm like, well, I already went down this path. 60% of it is all custom made. If I get like a Freedom Breeder and ARS now, first of all, it's going to be hard to fit that in. It has to be something custom. So, and it's not going to look the same. So I'm like, I want everything to look the same, at least for this room now. Like if I expand to, another building or something like that, then yeah, maybe I would consider buying something that's already pre-made. So Philip Collum, he's actually doing his own aluminum racks. So plug for Philip there. Oh, really? Yeah, I think he calls it the Pack Rack, PAC.
Yeah, I've had him on. He's talked about that. I'm really interested in his rat rack design because you can lift up the tub and the lid stays on too. I think that is a huge thing, especially for rat breeders when they need to just take a whole tub. I think that's a great design. I am really interested in what he does and how the product finally looks when he gets it done and starts getting it shipped out. It might be a way I need to go. I mean,
yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what that product looks like. I mean, he's shown, I guess, samples of it or sections of it. I'm excited to see the whole thing and see some reviews of what other people think about it. He actually reached out to me when he, I guess maybe even before he released his first video, and he's just asking me like what I think of it. And I loved it. I told him it was a great idea, very innovative. The fact that the whole top and everything comes out, and it's all versatile. Because I build my racks to be versatile as well. So like there's a couple racks that I build where you can put in either grow out tubs or adult tubs, but they're still somewhat fixed and limited. But the way he did it, it's much more versatile. So the only real comment that I gave him, and I didn't want to sound too pushy when I was giving him this critique, but I said it like 10 times on the phone call, so I think it finally got through. Because originally his design called for if we were to take the smallest tubs that he had, it called for 5 across, so 5 smalls across or 10 across. And I'm like, dude, you got to do it in increments of 6, because the smalls, every 2 small equals 1 medium.
Yeah.
Every 3 smalls equals 1 large tub. So if you did a 5 across, that means I would have to have a large and a medium. I could never put 2 larges side by side.
Oh, yeah.
So I hinted that to him like 10 times, and I think even at the end of the call, we still settled on No, just doing 5 and 10. But then the next few videos that he released, he did, I guess, poll. He did some lives, I think, and he did poll again, and I mentioned it again, and I think it finally took. So now he's doing like 6 and 12s.
Yeah, that's a different perspective and think about it a different way than he originally had it. And just to see that's one of the things when it's hard when you come up with an idea by yourself. Yeah. You're laser focused on what you came up with, and you can't really hear anything else until you get close to that finished product, and people are like, "Hey, maybe you should have did this," and they're coming from a different perspective, and you can't see it until you're like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But I'm glad he took that idea, because that does make very much sense. You want to have those two next to each other where you can put them.
Right. Because if you do a 5, then you'll never be able to have the same size on one level. Like you can have all 5 smalls on one level, but then when you get to the mediums, you would have to have 2 mediums and a small. 2 mediums and a small, or a medium and 3 smalls, or a medium and a large, or a large and 2 smalls. Like you can never. It won't look. I have OCD, so it won't look good to me. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
He had good reason to do 5 across. I think it was something to do with the weight distribution or something like that. So 5, but he must have tweaked the design to frame a little bit so that it can handle a little bit more weight, and that's why he's able to now do 6 and 12.
Okay. Top Moon Reptiles, thanks for coming through. Yeah. So that's a very, what's the word, thing to think about for perspective. If you have an idea, try to bounce it off of somebody else just to get a different perspective, or maybe a different angle of it that you weren't thinking about. Mm-hmm. And that might save you a whole bunch of time on something later down the line.
I definitely commend the guy for coming out with, again, that innovative idea, and then like pretty much doing it from start to finish all himself. I mean, I'm sure he's got other people doing the fabrication and making molds and stuff, but like he's seeing it from start to finish, which is great. A huge deal of effort. And
especially already in a field that there is so much competition in. You got people that are well established, very well reputable rack builders already in the industry, for you to go like, hey, I'm gonna bring something different, and actually keep pushing it forward. Like he's actually getting those bigger guys looking at like, oh wow, that is a really neat design. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can innovate my own design and see if I can implement something like that. And that keeps everybody growing and keeps everybody thinking and getting outside the box and making things better, which is just great for our industry alone, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's because of that where you see some of the other metal rack builders, they've been, I guess, tweaking. I don't know if it's been in their plans, or it's because they saw the aluminum option. Now there's like parts that they're making out of plastic to try to bring that cost down a little bit. But before it was like all metal, but then became hybrid, and now they have other parts that they're making plastic, and if you can mix and match to the plastic stuff, which help bring the cost down a little bit. So I'm wondering if that had anything to do with, the plastic parts being made.
It has to have something to do with it, because if you can, price is a big issue with racks. The biggest issue is shipping costs so much because it's so heavy. Yeah. If you can reduce that, people will buy your stuff a lot faster and not worry about almost having to pay just as much for shipping that you did for the rack itself. That is, you're paying for 2 racks. I only needed 1.
Which is why, again, I build my own, because I can just go to Home Depot.
And we go back
to Home Depot and bring it back, and I'm done. It's like I just build it. And you've seen some of my videos where I should build part of it in their parking lot. Right? I don't even have to clean up. My wife doesn't complain about the mess, the dust, nothing. I don't have anybody running around. My kids sticking their fingers in front of the saw blades. Hey man, I get it all done. A lot of it's done there, and then I just bring it home, and then I put the camera and I assemble it for you guys to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Sandra, thank you for coming through. So speaking of Home Depot, I build rat racks for people sometimes. Home Depot stopped either selling or they're about to change their smallest cement tub that most people use for rat racks. They're changing it or something because I couldn't get it and I couldn't order it. They were like they shut it down from the website, so you couldn't really order it. So they're changing something on it. So if you using Home Depot tubs, get them while you can, because I don't know if they're going to be the same dimensions as they were. So just a heads up from me. Menards has tubs just about the same size. They have more of a little bit of a lip, a little bit of adjustment there, but hey, that might be a way to go. So if you got, for all the rat breeders out there that build your own racks, think about that. That was the first question, and we got like 28 minutes, and I love it. This is awesome.
Hey man,
this is going to be a great live. I'm having so much fun already. So if you are here, go ahead and hit that like button, because apparently YouTube likes it when you hit the like button, and I like that too. YouTube likes that you hit the like button. So go ahead, appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. So let's hit another question, which I am very interested in this question to see what your answer is. I'm always interested to see what people answer for this one, because there's so many out there, and it's like picking between your two favorites. It's so hard. So what is your favorite codom and your favorite recessive? There's that look right there. There it is.
It's tough because it's always changing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know Orange Dream is what drew me into this hobby.
Okay.
So when I was just browsing on YouTube, I saw a thumbnail of a blue snake, and I knew it was a ball python, but I was like, I'd never seen a blue ball python before. And this was on Brian's channel, I think, when it was like Snake Bites or BHB. And I clicked on it. I seriously watched that video over and over and over again. And I'm like, it's a thumbnail, so it must have appeared somewhere in the video, but I couldn't find it. Like, that was a great way for him to get people to watch his videos over and over and over again, because that's what happened to me. I got sucked into it. I'm like, where is that blue snake? And then finally I realized that it was an Orange Dream. And I was like, oh, orange is cool, because orange is my favorite color. And then that got me searching a little bit more, doing a little bit more research, stumbled upon Ozzy's Orange Dream videos, his collection. I'm like, dude, I love it. I want to get into it. So Orange Dream is definitely the thing that brought me in. But even though it's like ranked really high on my list of favorites, I can't say it's my favorite. I am starting to like Cypress a lot, just because it's new to me. So it's like that new shiny toy that you're playing with. So it's like on my mind, like, what can I do with it? What can I do with it? But I think honestly, it's got to boil down to something that's more versatile. And to me, like, Enchi is probably like the most versatile gene. I think everybody says it. A lot of people love it, right? I mean, it's not just a color changing, but it also changes the pattern, and it adds like a little bit of a greenish hue to it. And the more greens you add to it, the more greens and purples it brings out. And like, unlike some of the other genes that are like in the 8-ball complex, or in the blue-eye Lucy complex, or the yellow belly complex, like where you get a solid color snake, you know, Enchi doesn't do that when you make it super. And that's why I like it so much, because it just keeps adding to it, right? Like, I like white snakes, I like black snakes, but I only want one of those. I don't need like a whole room full of white snakes.
Exactly.
But yeah, like Enchi just does it for me, because it not only does what I just said it does, but it actually brought back pattern in a yellow belly, right? It adds pattern to a pie. So it just does so much of this little funky stuff, and we're always learning new things about it. A couple of years ago, like Billy and Austin said that it's allelic to black pastel and cinnamon. I don't know if it's true. I mean, some people said that they bred a black pastel Enchi, and they were able to produce black pastel Enchis. So that doesn't really make sense. But I mean, I don't have any. I can't prove it out. But it's like we're just finding new interesting things about Enchi all the time. I think part of that is because it's so popular, it's so widely used, and so that it has that it's on the platform where so many people are playing with it, and therefore we are discovering new things about it. And the other thing about Enchi is that it's affordable. Like Orange Dream is, it's a really cool gene where the price is still able to maintain its value, or maintain where it is. And then you got new stuff, like I said, Cypress, where it's new, and that's why it's expensive. But Enchi is like anybody can go out and buy Enchi. They can go buy a Super Enchi, and it's affordable, and like they can do so much with it. So I think Enchi is my pick.
Enchi, yeah, I say Enchi in everything. Put Enchi in everything. Enchi is my favorite. I mean, it's one of the genes that really got me into wanting to breed. First it was albino, then Bumblebee, and then I saw Enchi, and I just fell in love with Enchi from the pattern to the color it gives you. You can put it in so many things. It adds pattern to pie, like you said. It just explodes off of stuff, but it's not so dominant that it takes over. It blends so well with stuff, and it works with so many different things. It's a very versatile gene to have in your collection, and like you said, it's very affordable. You can buy a very amazing example of it for not breaking the bank by doing it, and it works so good. Flexing Python, thanks for coming through. We are on the same page on Enchi, 100%. 100%.
So before I answer the second part of that question, which is what's the favorite recessive, what's your favorite recessive?
So my favorite recessive, it's actually technically two.
Favorite is one. Favorite is one. Listen, if you're gonna not let your if you're gonna hold your guests to that level of standard, you gotta hold yourself to that level of standard. So
very true. So it would have to be albino then. Albino is the thing that first got me into ball pythons and made me fall in love with them. So that's always a gene I plan to work with. Either albino or lavender albino, I will always work with that gene in my collection. So it would be albino for me.
Okay, very subtle. I see you just added the or lavender.
I did. I had to sneak it in a little bit.
Yeah. I think I do like albino. I actually have some albinos. I got lavenders. I got the other T positive ones, the Ultramel, the Candy. And I think I have a Toffino, so it's a het for toffee.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Pied is my favorite recessive. But it's funny because in the beginning I was like, why does this animal look so nasty? Why is this color missing? What's wrong with this thing? It looks like it has that there's a skin or immune deficiency thing going on. It's called vitiligo or something like that. It just reminds me of that.
Yep.
But then I'm like, wait a minute. My dog is black and white. My other dog is black and white. It's like it's the same gene.
Mm-hmm.
Like why am I tripping over? So the more I looked at Pied, and then of course I think this was around the time when I started discovering Justin's Dreamsicle videos, and then he was making like the first Orange Dream Pieds and the Fire Pieds, and then that kind of drew me in more and more, and I was like, I want to make something like that. So, and I think like a third of my collection is Pieds, and I wasn't afraid to spend the money on Pieds. So I have a lot of, not a lot, but a number of visual Pied females, right? And so that's kind of what kept the Pied project strong in my collection, whereas some of the other projects, the other recessive ones that I want to focus on, the other two are Clown and Desert Ghost. The Desert Ghost was just hard to find. So if I found a visual, I would have picked it up, but they were just hard to find, which is why I don't have many of them. But Clown, I was just like, I don't know about Clown. I guess I'll buy some hets. And that's why like a lot of my adult Clown breeders are just hets. Right?
Yeah.
And so like I'm forced to go and buy visual males and spend more money on visual males. Whereas if I just realized that I should have bought visual females, I could probably buy like, multi-codom males that are het for Clown.
Yeah.
So that would have been the better strategy, but I wasn't really thinking back then. So now I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. They get certain stuff in the beginning, and then they learn like, oh, I should have just bought all visual females and let them grow up, and then I could have got het males, but full codom males with like three or four different codoms in there, and bred them to those visual females,
Right.
and had better odds.
Yeah. And you also have a better opportunity to introduce newer genes. So like if let's say tomorrow somebody came out with this other brand new shiny gene, and obviously it's not going to be het for anything. You have to make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a bunch of het clown females, you don't have a good chance of making what you want, because you're going to be making pos hets. But if you have visual clown females, you can take that, put it to your clown, make that whatever that new shiny gene is that is a het for clown, in a year breed that male to your visual female again, and now you have the visual form of it in a clown, and you're like, bam, I'm done in 2 years. Whereas now I'm like I have no idea how long it's going to take, because I'm making 50% all the time. 50%.
And you're hoping you hit odds and you get a decent amount of females. That's another thing people don't think about is, you might have these certain two parents, but you still have to hope to hit the odds where you get the right sex ratio.
And
so you get and it happens every time. I was trying to make double hets. First year, I got 4 males out of a 4 egg clutch. I was like, well, that was no fun. Got to do this again. It took me 2 years to get females, and I was a little distraught at first, and those are those setbacks people aren't ready for sometimes, and it really throws them off. And I think that on top of feeding your collection, once you start getting snakes, that rat bill gets expensive. So that and getting bad odds, I think that really pushes people away after a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
They're not ready for that little bit of a devastation and a little bit of change. It's not, beating ball pythons not difficult, but you have to be able to endure. You 100% have to be able to endure it. That's what I'm learning. DNA Reptile, thanks for coming through. Appreciate you.
See, he agrees. He says only one.
He did. I was hoping you wouldn't say anything. We were going to try to get back. KNC Mystic Mountain Morse, thanks for coming through. I was like, he's not going to see it. He's not going to say anything. We're going to just move past, say what's up. Nope.
Not at all. I'm waiting for that pause. So I can interject and keep focusing on the fact that it should only be one.
I understand.
My aunt would, like, me and one of my cousins were born around the same time, and we always lived close to each other. Our parents are like also related. Like my mom and her mom are related, and her dad and my dad are related. We're not incestuous or anything.
I was like, you might want to clear that one up.
It's not incestuous. Trust me, we've done blood work. It's okay. But my aunt was always be like, "Oh, you're both my favorites," and I was like, "God damn it, lady, just pick one."
You can't do that to me. Oh, I have aunties that, "Oh, you're my favorite nephew." Hold on, I just heard you had told Jamal that 2 minutes ago, so that is clearly a lie. I was raised not to lie. You are lying to my face.
Or you can be like, "Hey, Jamal, I just beat you."
This is true. I have one cousin that did do that. He would look at you like, see, I'm the favorite now. Cuddle Time Critters, thanks for coming through. L Herps Reptiles, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Oh, wow. This is so much fun. I did not think we were going to have this much fun. So, Itchy and Pied, very good picks. I am a fan of Pied. Like you said, I've been trying to stack up on more visual females from Clown, Pied, Albino, all those nice recessive morphs that are like staples in this community. I am trying to get females for my collection to have, so when I need to put in a new gene into them, I do it with the females so I can shorten that time span of before I can produce the visual with the new gene in it and a recessive on top of that. Because little tip for everybody, recessives are the way to go. 100%. If you're gonna buy any single gene animal, make sure it's a recessive and make sure it's a female. Just being realistic, recessive female is the best way to go. They hold their value, and you can use them a lot of different ways. At least that's what I think. That's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. Because like, there's been times where I try to make my own females, and it's like, well, there's a whole clutch of males.
Yep.
Again. Like I don't know. I didn't post all the videos of my Desert Ghost Pied project, but this year I tried to make some Desert Ghost Pieds out of 3 females. 3 clutches. I got 3 double head Desert Ghosts.
Cool.
Females. 3 out of 3 clutches. That averages 1 female per clutch.
Yeah. That definitely hurts. That hurts. Yep. That is always that moment where you go to check the sex and you be like, oh, come on. Oh, penis. Yeah. All right, come on. Another penis. Oh. All right, guys, let's stop showing these penises. Come on. Give me a lady.
I thought I had 4. And then when I went to recheck, there was like another devastating blow because one of them popped some hemipenes out. I'm like, oh no.
I literally check 3 different times. I check once they come out the egg, I check after their first shed, and then I check again after their first meal, just to be sure. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes they sneak it up on you, and you be like, "Oh, there it goes." I didn't think this was it. It happens.
I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, I think I got a male from Ozzy when it's supposed to be a female.
Oh.
From Ozzy, like you wouldn't expect that, right? But
exactly.
It happens to everybody because they can like tighten their muscles inside and then just nothing comes out and it makes you think it's a female.
Oh wow, really? I just blanked out. I was trying to do something on this. No, because I realized that I can make people...
What are you looking at over there, buddy?
No, I realized I can make people admins. Yeah. And Keisha told me how to do it, and now I was literally like, oh, let me make her an admin. But I think I just started her, and I don't think that's what I was supposed to do. I don't think I did it right. Keisha, tell me how to do it again. So let's go ahead to another question. There we go. Well, I pretty much know the answer. You kind of said it already, but we're going to still ask, just in case you upgrade. You might have upgraded. We don't know.
Yeah.
What camera do you use to film your YouTube videos?
I use my phone, which is the Samsung S10. So I don't even think that's the latest one. It works fine. I mean,
it works fine.
It works fine. I mean, these days the cameras on the phone work fine. I had a S6 to start with, and even that camera worked fine. It was just the selfie camera one was just very pixelated, but the other one was fine. The S8, I upgraded to an S8 after that, and sometimes I still use that if I want to do multiple angles. But again, like I said, it's time consuming to set up 2 cameras, to move 2 cameras, to edit together 2 cameras, to sync things up all the time. So now I just pretty much just stick with the one that I'm using right now, which is again the Galaxy S10.
100%. I use my phone. I have a setup for 2 phones. One of my phones, the camera just stopped working. I don't even know what to do. It just stopped working where it won't even register the camera. So I had to go buy this webcam to do the lives with because I do it on my computer. I was doing it on my phone, but then I realized sometimes I want to either go follow somebody in the chat that has Instagram that probably came up, and I can't do that if I'm filming with my phone. So I had to get a webcam, but mostly 100% with the phone. I videotape, edit on my phone, upload, do my thumbnails, all of it from my phone. It's a computer in my pocket. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. And for me, my phone is actually faster than my computer at this point. So
that's why I edit on my phone, because I can render it so much faster and see if I messed up, even though I don't like to hear myself. So let me ask you this. This is not even one of the questions. Do you like to hear yourself talk in your videos?
Oh yeah, of course I'm conceited like that. Yeah. No, I don't like to see myself talk. No, to be honest, like when I edit myself, I have the volume really really low.
Okay.
And I feel weird when I'm like rewatching my video because I do want to watch it from start to finish, making sure like I don't have any weird glitches or anything in there. But yeah, I feel really weird watching, especially when like my wife and my kids are there too, and they're watching. I'm like, don't watch it yet. This is not public yet. Don't watch it. So yeah, I don't really like hearing myself talk, but I do want to say like, if I can endure watching it right before it gets published, I feel like that kind of helps me feel confident that other people might watch it more than once.
That's smart. That's smart. Yeah.
Otherwise, like if I can't watch it, it's like I don't know if anybody else wants to watch it if I can't even watch it.
I can't stand the sound of my own voice, so it's really weird when I'm editing my videos. I'm literally just trying to remember if I said something I probably should cut out, but most of the time I'm just listening. I'm literally listening to see where I need to cut that scene and put the next scene in. I'm not listening to what I'm saying. I'm just listening for a certain word I know I said at the end because I remember when I filmed it, and I'm gonna cut it there. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, I've started before. When I edit, I always start from the beginning, and then I edit until I get to the end. But now I'll just throw a file into my editor, and I start editing at the end because I know the last take was probably the best one.
Okay.
So I'll take the last one, and if that last one has some glitches, then I'll take sections of maybe a previous take, and then try to plug it into where those glitches were. And when I mean glitches, it's like when I'm saying a lot, or when I'm stumbling, or stuttering and things like that. So I start at the end and then I work backwards.
That makes sense. Sense.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf Reptiles, thanks for coming through. You're not late, but you always can rewatch it after we end this stream, so you always rewatch it later. No problem. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm gonna have to try that. I might have to try that. Maybe it'll speed up the editing process. I'm trying to find ways to gain a little time from something, so I'm not killing too much time editing or too much time trying to make a thumbnail. I mean, there's not much time I could gain from cleaning snakes because you kind of got to do that thoroughly so everybody's good. But editing, you can find little shortcuts that takes me 30 minutes to edit something. It could take me down to 20 minutes now. So I'm always trying to find those little shortcuts.
Yeah, and you need those. You want to find efficiencies because YouTube is tough. Like, it's probably the toughest form of social media to like expose yourself, because you are exposing more of yourself. People are
very true.
Hear your voice, they can see your mannerisms, they can see what's going on behind you. Like Instagram, Facebook, you're just posting a little snippet, a picture, maybe not. I mean, I know there's reels and there's shorts, but most of the time people are just posting pictures, and there's so many different filters, and it makes you look professional even when you're not trying to look professional. But then other times it bites you in the butt because it's like, I can see that picture. Obviously, you put 20 filters on it to make that snake look green. But like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they're a little bit easier, which kind of really sets you apart if you are doing YouTube, because people know that you're putting more of yourself out there. It does take more time, and the editing is what really killed me in the beginning. I would take so much time editing, and even when I was doing like 5-10 takes before, I still mess up on what I say, and I don't realize it. I would just say the stupid wrong thing 5 times. like if I was trying to talk about clowns or something, like again, like I had het clowns before, but I kept saying clowns.
Yeah.
And then when I do the video, I'm like, when did I ever say het? When I need to take where I said het. And I'm watching like all 5 takes, and like I never said the word het in any of them. So then I had to I was like, oh, I guess I'll just have to type it in as like a little.
I had to do that.
Yeah.
I've had to do that. Thanks, Keisha. I appreciate that. I've had to do that where I was like, oh, I said, because for some reason I got it in my head to say wild caught, and I meant to say classic for like normals. and I would just kept saying wild caught, and I had to literally go back in the video and I meant to say classic, not wild caught. These are captive bred animals. Somebody literally put in the comments, I don't think you caught those in the wild. I was like, you're right. Yeah, I didn't.
The details matter, and some people catch it, and that's why like I have to rewatch my videos to make sure I try to catch as many mistakes as I can before other people do. And we got a chat here from Phil Snyder, and he's actually from Finger Snakes. I know him. He's a buddy that lives near me, actually.
Okay.
And yes, we are calling you a wimp, Phil. Get on YouTube, man. I've been telling you, bro.
That's what I've been doing lately, is just trying to get as many people as I can to start doing their own YouTube channel. Just because it's so much, for one, it helps our industry. It makes our industry more mainstream, there's good and bad that comes from that, but mostly good will come from that. Secondly, to see other people, what they're doing, how they're taking care of their collection, what they're producing. You never know where you might find inspiration for a project. You might see something in somebody else's project that inspires you. And I kind of want to see what other people are doing. I want to see how they're taking care of their animals. They might have a different way of cleaning or a different way of feeding that I didn't think about, and I might need to implement that helps my animals eat better or something. Mm-hmm. You never know what you might pick up from somebody. So, and it also is good branding. It helps you sell snakes sometimes. Most of my snakes get sold off my YouTube before they even hit Morph Market. Because people watch a video, watch the pairings, and watch the eggs drop and then cutting and see them finally come out. And they're like, hey, I want that. Can I put my name on it? How do I get that? And I haven't even fed this animal yet. It won't ever get to hit Morph Market for other people to see because they've seen it in my YouTube first. So it's also a way to brand your. As much as people hate to talk about the business side, this is a business. It is a hobby / business full of animals that we have the responsibility to make sure we take care of properly. But it is a business, so it does help with that aspect as well. So Phil, YouTube, we'll be looking for it in 2 weeks. We need a video. 2 weeks, Phil.
That's just a deadline.
Hey, when you give people deadlines, they kind of work with you. They're like, all right, let me throw something together. When you be like, just throw a YouTube video up whenever you can, it'll be 2 years before they put that video up.
Yep. New Year's resolution. Start a YouTube channel.
There you go, the beginning of the year. I didn't even realize that would be the beginning of the year. There you go, Phil. Starting off 2022 with a YouTube video. We're ready for it. So before we go ahead,
Phil said LOL. Where's the admins at? Can somebody boot Phil, please? For God's sakes, this guy's not even listening to our advice.
We don't have any admins. I don't know how to do that yet. See, we're all learning, still learning things.
I'm just kidding, Phil.
So before we go to the next question, it is time for tip of the week. So once I click the right button, there we go. I got to click that off too. See, this is what happened. This is how you know it's a live show, people. Here we go. Tip of the week. Boom. So tip of the week is from Jessica. Quarantine. Learn that lesson the very, very hard way. Yes, quarantine is very important. Go check her out on Instagram as well. I'm a little pepper. I think that's how that is pronounced. We've talked about. I've had her on another tip of the week too, and I messed it up too. So I'll probably mess it up again. But go check her out on Instagram. Thanks for giving a tip for the week. If you want to be a tip for the week, all you have to do is put a comment under the post I put out after this podcast, and whichever one gets the most likes will be on the next tip of the week, and I give you a little shout out. And I might mess up your name, so get ready for that. But yeah, quarantine is very important. I haven't had a bad lesson about quarantine myself. I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning when I was first getting snakes, I didn't really quarantine after I got new snakes coming into the collection. I kind of kept them in the same room. Thankfully, everything worked out for me. Um, Pretty much. But now that there is, I didn't know. Did you know there's an airborne virus that snakes can get? I didn't know that was a thing.
What was that? What is it?
Oh, somebody put it in the chat. Who was it? Doodlemorphs got it, and it kind of killed a lot of his collection. And it's an airborne virus. So I was only worried about cross contaminating, like blood, using the same tongue, stuff like that. I was worried about that. So I figured you can possibly have snakes in the same room as long as you have them in different sections, and then just use different tools on different animals and clean different days. But apparently there is an airborne virus, and somebody will put it in the chat. It's not NATO. NATO is a cross-contaminator fluid one. You have to have fluid to touch other snakes. It's like, I think it starts with a C. This is terrible. Terrible living. I don't even know what the virus is called. But apparently it's an airborne virus that they can get. So I'm hoping somebody puts it in the chat.
It was you probably didn't hear me earlier, but I blurted COVID.
It starts with a C. It could be COVID. It's COVID for snakes. Apparently, it's just as deadly it is for us as COVID has been for us. It's that deadly for snakes. Apparently, they either can die in like 70 days if they get infected. Oh, somebody got to put it in the chat. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
I do think quarantine is really important. I mean, if you're buying from somebody that you don't know, you probably want to quarantine for like 60 days, 90 days. If you're buying from somebody that you do know, maybe someone that you purchased from before, or like a Justin Canova snake, then you might not have to quarantine for as long. But I think it's definitely important just to evaluate the snake, no matter where you got it from. Even if you buy it from somebody reputable, like there's still a chance, especially if you're getting it from out of country, right? Because if you're getting it from like somebody in Canada, which I purchased from before, when they ship it, they're shipping their snake with a bunch of other people's snakes too. So somebody else's snake that they have no, like Will from RCR, like he shipped me a snake before. I know his collection is clean. I mean, you look at his videos, or you're like, that guy's legit. Like nobody has like a $10,000 animal, or 10 of these $10,000 animals would sacrifice them or do anything silly to cause them to be sick. So usually, people like Will are very meticulous at keeping them healthy, preventing cross-contamination, mite prevention, and all that stuff. So you wouldn't expect that from him, but I got one from him, and the animal came with mites. And I know that he shipped to somebody else who then shipped to me, right? So that middle person was probably like getting shipments from all these other breeders. And it makes sense because the mites were not all in different stages of life. Like it's not like I got a baby one and then I got a subadult one and then I got a big one and then one was full of that's full of eggs or pregnant. Like they were all the same size. So that they were all at a point where they were looking for a new host. Right? So they must have come from another animal and they just migrated over to what happened to be mine, attached, because they're all the same size. It's not like they've been sitting on that animal for months and breeding and stuff like that, because then you would have them all in different sizes. Like the 7 that I got, 7 mites on that animal were all the same size. And it was very easy to get rid of them. I mean, I could see them. I basically pinched them off, killed them, put that animal in quarantine for 90 days, and I never got a bite out of her again. So quarantine's important. Just do it. Doesn't matter who you get it from. Just do it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the safest way to go about it. And if I don't know if that's the name either, if you check out, it's Samson's Snakeatorium YouTube with Brian. It's a What's in Your Cup episode with Doodlemorphs. They say the name on there. I know I should have remembered the name, but I forgot it because it scared me so much, because now I'm worried about airborne viruses. Now I'm terrified to go to shows now. But yeah, check out that video. Not right now. You can check it out later. Make a note and go look at it later. But check that out. Um, it terrified me when I heard them talking about it. It's killed most of his collection. He had some stuff in his living room separate away that seems to be okay, but he's just giving it time to check. And he took the animals that died to the vet, and the vet told him, like, this is what it is. If you had your animals in any close proximity where airflow could have went through, you're probably going to have some more sick animals and more dead animals, unfortunately. So he's dealing with that, and he's already thinking about how to bounce back, how to rebuild his collection, which is great, because I don't know if I could have did that with half of my collection being killed off or destroyed like that. That's because I've been with some of these animals I've had for quite a while and got real connected to. Like, I named most of my animals. So there's more than just you're to be sold. I have emotions with those animals, which makes it really hard to be a business too when you are connected to some of these animals. You're like, oh, I don't want to sell you, but I'm just having you here and you're taking up space and I'm not using you. So it's like I let somebody else get the joy of using you, but I'm connected to you. So touche to him for being able to think about rebounding and bouncing back. I might have him. I don't know if he has a YouTube. I might have to find out. That's going to be my New Year's resolution, is to find out if he has a YouTube. And if he doesn't, I'm going to tell him to make a YouTube so I can get him on the show. That is like, so somebody asked me, Keisha, let T know the only requirements to be on the show was to have a YouTube and at least have one YouTube video. That's the only requirements to be on the Under 1,000 pod. Have a YouTube channel and have one YouTube video. That's the only one. Well, I thought it was a simple requirement. Simple, not too difficult.
Much more simpler than YouTube's requirement to be monetized. That's for sure.
100%. 100%. Let's go get another question. Oh, I'm very interested in this question. So, do you breed or buy your snake food?
I actually do both.
Okay.
In the beginning, I didn't want to breed rats. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to get bit. I don't know if I like the smell. So in the beginning, I was very particular about the snakes that I was getting, and I would make sure that they were eating frozen thawed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would order them in bulk. Like, once I had like a dozen of these animals, I started ordering stuff in bulk from like the online stores. And then as the collection started growing, and then of course, sometimes you buy an animal that was on frozen thawed per se, and then turns out it's not frozen thawed. It eats live, or it eats mice or whatever, and then you have no choice. So when I ran into that issue, I try to convert it to frozen thawed. If it converts, great. If it doesn't convert, I usually end up selling it, because I didn't want to deal with live. I didn't want to go to the store every week, because at that time I didn't really have like a rodent supplier. I was buying these from pet stores, and a small is like $8. $8 for a small rat, and if I had like 2 of them, I would be getting 16. If I had 3 of them, I would be paying $24. And after a couple of weeks, it starts to add up, and it's like it costs the same as a snake now. Like, all the money that I've been putting into feeding it. So
yeah.
So at that time, when I was still new at this, I was getting rid of anything that would not convert to frozen thawed. But then it's like, as time went on, I was like, let me try breeding rats. I was always afraid of getting bit by the rats, because I heard they're really nasty. So I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to pay a little bit of extra to get my rat colony started with pet quality rats. Not the feeder rats, but the pet quality ones, the ones that have been socialized already. And plus, they have nice colors. They're blues, they're hooded, they're dumb ears, they're Rex fur. And so I started with that, and then I kind of got used to it. Now I'm like, I love the rats. Even cleaning them is kind of fun for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm in there, I'm playing with them, and then I'm like, oh crap, an hour went by. I only cleaned 2 rat tubs because I'm just playing with the little babies and just like holding them. And it's like, look at you. I'm like playing, like talking. Um, I'm gonna name you Mickey. I'm gonna name you Blue.
Hey, that's the best way to do it, to have fun with it.
So, but yeah, I mean, I like playing with the rats. I do like them now, and most of mine, just because I do play with them a little bit, especially the ones that I want to keep back, because it's fun for me. Because they have morphs too. They have different mutations too, right? So like the ones that I want to keep back, I play with them a little bit more, so that when they do become adults, you know, they're not nasty. They actually come up to greet me. They're not running and scurrying around and trying to jump out and climb away. I actually had my tubs open one time, and I went in there. It was a tub with 3 not pregnant, but they already had their litters. So 3 females, all with their litters.
Okay.
And I must have gone in there one night to grab a pup to go feed a snake, but I forgot to close it all the way. So I left like a 2-inch gap. The next morning I went in. I was like, oh my God, they've escaped, right? I mean, luckily the pups were at the size where they couldn't really get far.
Okay.
And so one of the females actually came out, and she had brought about 6 or 8 of her pups on the wires at the top where the food is, and she made a nest where the food is, and she stayed there. And when she saw me, she actually carried one of her pups back in, which is interesting, right? Because that kind of tells you, like, they're not really afraid of you. If they're afraid of you, they probably would have jumped across to the other side of the room.
Exactly. So
I think playing with them is good. Starting with pet quality is a good idea if you're not too sure about rats and how they behave. I think there's just more leeway when you're dealing with pet quality rats. And like I said, there's mutations, so it makes things interesting. But yeah, I do breed. I have a very small rat colony, and it's really just to supply those stubborn animals that won't convert to frozen thawed. But other than that, pretty much everything is on frozen. I would say like maybe 80% of my collection is on frozen thawed. Of course, that percentage-wise goes down during the peak of hatchling season because all the hatchlings I feed live. Until they have maybe like 2 or 3 meals, and then I start trying to convert them to frozen thawed. And I do that because a lot of people that buy from me, especially like the $200, $300, $400 animals, a lot of them are new. And there's been times where I sold one to somebody and it was eating live, and then she says, after she gets it, she was like, how come it doesn't eat frozen thawed? And I was like, well, that one only eats live. And she's like, I don't have access to live here. I was like, oh, darn. So, you know, we ended up making it right. I got her to ship that one back. And then when another one became available, I shipped that one to her, knowing that it eats frozen thawed. But ever since then, like, I would try to make sure that the animals would eat more than one prey type. So it could eat live rats or frozen thawed rats, live rats or frozen thawed mice or live mice. Like, I try to give people some variety. And I sometimes I do ask people, sometimes you can tell when they inquire about it, depending on the type of questions they ask, you can tell if they're new or not. Right? And if there's that like little flag that goes up and says, oh, this person might be new, then I start to ask them some questions, like, have you fed these before? Do you have small kids around? Things like that. Just to help them along, because I want their time with the snake to be a positive time. I want them to be successful, because I don't want them to go return the snake or sell it off or flip it.
Good experience being the snake owner.
Exactly. And I would tell them, I was like, yeah, this one's nippy. You don't want this one. You know,
I use the word feisty to explain, and because some people are like, yeah, what is their temperament? Are they mean? I'm like, they're not mean. They're animals. They're most of the things they're doing is instinct stuff. So if they're scared, they're protecting themselves. If they're running away from you, they're scared of you. They're trying to survive. So their instinct are just taking over. So they're not necessarily mean or being bees. They're just being animals. Every animal bites. No matter what it is, it can bite. So there's a chance it might bite you. just know that as a fact.
Right.
So.
Right. And having a rat, like some people ask me, like, should they breed their rats? I mean, there's a lot of, that's a loaded question, right? But one thing people don't, it seems like a lot of people don't think about is if you're starting to breed rats and you have a small, well, here's the thing: people want to size a rat colony to what their snakes can eat, right? And like a lot of, if you read from a lot of sites, some experienced people, they would say one breeder female rat per animal in your collection. That's how you size it. But that's only if you have like a big snake collection and a big rat colony. If you're trying to feed a small a group of snakes, you're going to have a small group of rats in the colony. But the problem with that is when you need a pup, they might not be pups. They might already be weans. And when you need a wean, they might already be smalls. And so you actually have to like oversize drastically. The smaller your collection is, you have to oversize more percentage-wise, right? So you might have to like double it so that you would actually have the right sizes when you need them.
Exactly.
Like I said, one of the reasons I have mine is so I can feed live to the ones that need live, and during hatchling season, the need for live goes up, but at the same time, it's like, all right, this hatchling is ready for food now, and then I go into my rat room, and I'm like, where's all the pinkies? Where's all the fuzzies? It's like, I thought this was supposed to be fuzzies, but these are already weaned. Like, what the hell happened in the last 2 weeks? It's like, so yeah, that's something to consider. Like, just because you have the adequate number doesn't mean that you're always going to get the right prey size for snakes. The bigger the snakes, the more leeway, because they can eat a small, they can eat a wean. You can give them 2 weans to equal a small. But you just can't fit a weaned sized rat into a hatchling. That's just
no.
So that's
I read Reptiles. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, like you said, you start off your hatchlings on live first. I usually actually see if they'll take a frozen thawed first. Their first meal is, if they take it, I try frozen thawed first, because I like to feed frozen thawed. For one, it's safer for my animals. I'm not worried about them getting bit. You can kind of get away with giving them a little bigger of a size of a meal because it's frozen thawed sometimes. And you can buy in bulk and have rats on hand. It's hard to go every week and buy live rats. It sucks. And my wife doesn't like the smell of live rats. She's not a fan of it. That's why I'm not breeding rats, for one, because she has a super nose and she can smell everything. So I know exactly when I need to start cleaning, because she'll look at me and I'm like, I'm going downstairs to clean snakes now. No worries.
Like I said before, when I was primarily on frozen, I would do that as well. I would feed frozen first for the hatchlings, and then the ones that don't want to, because I didn't want to keep going to the store. Remember, I wasn't breeding my own, so I would start with frozen thaw. So if I have like a clutch of 6, and if 4 or 5 of them cook frozen, then that's great. So that means I only have to go to the store and pay $2.99 or $3 for 1 pup, as opposed to paying $3 for 6 or 7 pups. So it drops the cost as well. But now, because I'm breeding my own, and I also have a couple of rat suppliers in the area who I can just go to if I'm short on live, they can help supplement as well, and the cost is low as well, right? And also because now when I'm hatching during hatch season, I might be hatching like 5 clutches at a time. Within like 2 or 3 weeks, I might have 5 clutches.
Yeah.
That means I'm going to need like 5 clutches worth of pups, and so it makes more sense to drive 50 minutes or an hour to get 50 rat pups. Like, I would not want to drive an hour to get 1 rat pup. You know what I mean? So it makes more sense when you have quantity.
Yeah, it definitely does. When you have more, it makes more sense. It's always that. I've had a friend, James, I'm talking about you, that went from 2 snakes to 15 within a month. So his bill for rats went from spending $20 a week to close to $100 to $120 a month, and he plans on breeding, and that bill is going to go up. So you have to balance that out. That's why you kind of should take your time as you're building your collection. So, because you're not just getting new snakes and need new racks, but you also have to feed these new snakes, and that bill is going to increase. So you have to be prepared for that.
And your time as well. Your time starts to
cleaning,
well. The cleaning, the feeding, all that stuff. But like
all that increase.
And I tell people, like, people ask me, like, how big of a collection did you start with? And I'm like, I don't know your routine. I don't know how much time you want to put into it. You know, it's going to be different if you have 2 newborns or somebody who has 2 kids in college. Like, it's completely different. So it's up to you. And my advice is just start with the number in your head and just work towards that number. But if at any time you start feeling that it's difficult, just pause for a little bit, right? And just work with the number of animals you have and find efficiencies, right? And then, or once you get used to it, then maybe think about, you know, working towards that same number again. And if you hit that number and you feel like you still have plenty of time and you got plenty of energy to continue going, then create a new number and then start working towards that number. But it's funny because I worked to a number of 20, right? My number was 20 at one time, and I haven't found like all the efficiencies that I have now, but at 20, I was like, oh, I can do more. I think I can do more, right? And that the very next day I got sick. And I felt horrible. I felt miserable. And I was like, okay, I can't do more. So lesson learned is when you're trying to size your collection, size it not to your best day, but size it to a day where you're probably not your best, right? Because it sucks to have to clean rats and clean snakes, and you have a migraine, or your face is all congested, or your body's aching, right? So it sucks. And if you don't have help, if you don't have other family members and friends that can help and pitch in, then you're on your own, and you still have to do it. You're like, you can't neglect your animals, or else it's going to get worse. So size your collection. Keep in mind what your sick day is going to look like.
I never thought of it that way. What does your sick day look like? Can you still handle cleaning? That is really a good way to think of it. Oh wow, that is really a good way to think of it. I never thought of it that way. Ooh, wow. Oh, I know, because I'm a big baby. My wife would tell you I'm a big baby when I'm sick. I don't want to do anything. I want to lay down. I shut everything down. So, yeah. Yeah, usually when I'm sick, I've literally just finished cleaning the snakes, and they should be good for like 2 or 3 days. So that gives me enough time to try to get over, at least get to a decent point where I can not be blowing snot on snakes while I'm trying to clean them. That's a good one. So if there's so many comments, I'm so behind on comments, but that is something you guys should think about. How many snakes do you think you can take care of when you're sick? Instead of thinking about how many snakes you can take care of when you're healthy, think about those sick days. Oh wow. You just
look at all these people. Look at all these people commenting at Phil. See, Phil,
that's why you need to have a channel, Phil.
Listen, Phil, stop responding. Don't put that on there. Do it in the video.
Exactly. There you go, Phil.
There you go.
I mean, I'm at this point. It seems like you get a new video out there in a week, Phil. And I'm gonna make sure. Let me go make sure I'm subscribed to Phil's channel, because I'm so excited for this video he's gonna put out.
Can you export this list of comments and send it to Phil? Phil, you can answer one per video.
We'll figure it out. We're gonna figure a way to send this to Phil. 100%.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he can just read it. I'm
gonna send it to Phil now. I don't think that's the right Phil. I found a different Phil on YouTube. I don't think that's you, Phil.
No, it's not. Is it a different one?
Because he's got videos out, so that's definitely not Phil. I found him on my phone. This is not Phil. I gotta find him a different way.
Oh, okay, on your phone.
Because Marco, Phil Morris, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming through. Um, oh, we got so far away from the questions, but this is what happens with this good conversation. I mean, it was connected to that question, but that's what happens when you start having a good conversation and you make statements that I didn't even think about. Now I'm thinking about it, and I'm just trying to wrap my whole head around. Like, oh, I gotta start thinking about that because I was like, my goal was to have close to 50 breeder females and hopefully produce 40 clutches a year.
Okay.
Usually you'll get a girl that won't go and stuff. This year has been the most I've had in clutches. I think I had 6 clutches total. I had 7, but one was a slug, so we don't count that one. So 7 clutches. So I had a total of, rough estimate, 25 to 23 babies this year that I had to take care of, feed, clean, all that good stuff on top of my collection. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't too time consuming. I could still do it, keep up with stuff. Sometimes I'll miss a girl going in the blue or animal going in the blue and not spray the tub down so they wouldn't have the best shed. But those are the little inconveniences I had, but everybody stayed pretty healthy, 100%. And I think I can handle, on top of what my collection is, I think I can handle maybe 35 to 40 hatchlings in a year. So that really made me start thinking about, like, wait, do I need to be, is that a goal I need to be shooting for, or should I shoot for a smaller goal and see how it feels taking care of that many animals at one time? So I'm going to breed a couple of females, but I'm actually going to pull back on some, just to, one, that I can take care of those animals once I produce them, because I did take that time to produce them. It is my job to take care of them, to make sure they're properly taken care of. But it also gave me a thought process of, like, hey, maybe you might be trying to bite off a little more than you can chew. Maybe you should walk a little more before you start running.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely got me thinking about that. Especially now, I'm thinking about sick days too. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, you can. It's like really easy to just get into the mindset of, like, just buy, and I'm gonna go from 5 breeder females, and next year I'll have 20 breeder females, and the year after that I'll have 40 breeder females. But then when you start thinking, it's like, 40 breeder females. If they all go, 6 eggs out of every clutch, I need space for 240 hatchlings.
Yeah.
240 rat pups. Where am I going to get all this stuff? So it's easy in the beginning because you're like, 20 rat pups, I can do that. 30 rat pups, I can do that. But once you get to like hundreds of rat pups, it's like, I don't know. And it does get hard. And the more animals you have, the slower you start to build your collection because you're more content with what you already have. Like once you have, because in the beginning it's like, I want a fire, I want an orange dream, I want an inchy, I want a yellow belly. But once you have all those genes in your collection, it's like, I think I can just make a few of these myself instead of trying to buy more, because you already have like a huge collection of a variety of genes in your collection.
True.
So, because you start to slow down a little bit. That's kind of where I am now. In the beginning, even last year, I kept buying and buying and buying, like a single codom that's a visual clown this, visual clown that. Again, trying to reverse the mistake that I made with buying all hets. Yep. But this year, I don't think I purchased many animals. I think I just purchased maybe like 3 powerhouse males. No, 2 powerhouse males and 1 backup male. That's pretty much all I bought. This year, so it does slow down after a while because you have the ammunition now to make your own cool animals.
Yep.
Stuff that you probably can't even find a more collective. Yeah. And just it's part of the fun of the journey anyway. So it's fun to make your own stuff, even if it's already been made. I know like the lightning pie's been made like years and years ago, but I'm like, I have the ingredients. If I go and buy one now, I'm kind of topping out, you know, and I kind of lose, even if I buy one and use that one to make it, it's just not as like, not as meaningful because it already exists in my collection. I'm just making a copy of it, right?
Yeah.
Not making it the first time.
True.
So,
True.
yeah.
So let's hit another question. What do you use to edit your YouTube videos?
I'm cheap, man. I use free stuff, dude.
Hey, I'm 100% on board with that. My programs, I've only paid for one program, and that's to try to keep my business records all together, and that really only costs $6.23. So I try to find everything I can for free that I can use. My thumbnail thing I use is free. My editor is free. I totally am on board for free stuff because it works just as good as the paid stuff. I just don't have as many little tools.
Yeah, free. And it comes with a bunch of viruses that you don't want. So, you know, it's all good. No, actually, the one I use is actually pretty good. It's called Shot Cut, like shot like a gunshot.
Okay.
Cut like cutting paper cut. So Shot Cut, and it's for Windows. I think it does come in both 64 and 32-bit versions. And it's pretty good. It's a little bit slow on my machine, but I think it's because it's my machine, because it's an old machine.
Okay.
I think it would probably do just fine if you have something that is, you know, higher in RAM, higher in memory. But it's called Shot Cut. It's pretty good. It doesn't have like as many filters and transitions as I would like, but there's a lot of videos that you can find on YouTube where they have tutorials to show you different ways to configure your filters or combine different transitions and things like that to make it look cool. And you might not find the transition that you have in mind, but you can find something that looks cool and you're like, hey, you know what? I think I can use that instead of the one that I have envisioned in my mind. Because I did that for a while, just to try to keep everything interesting, try to keep my videos a little bit different. It helped me to learn the application a little bit. And like I said, it keeps it interesting, but you do have to be aware that it also it dates you a little bit. It dates your video, because if you're using something that's cool and catchy now, in 5 years when somebody watches it and it just looks like it's antique, you know. Whereas if you just keep it nice and simple, you got a talking head, you do the egg cutting, or you do the update video, you showing your hands and you go back to a talking head. That's like more timeless. So I think people are more prone to watch those videos because that idea of it being old or new or you know dated is not there. That you take that element out of it, so it's always just like a very clean news. And that's what I do now, which is actually good for me because it cuts down on my editing, and I can get videos out more consistently. And consistency is what really helps the YouTube algorithm. If anything, I don't really understand the YouTube algorithm, but I know consistency is really important. I remember last year around this time, I didn't have content. Right, I think I had like maybe 20 plus clutches, right? And so towards the end of the year, I ran out of content, and I didn't want to just keep making like videos about how to set up an egg box, because I've done that already. I don't want to. I don't want to show another video of my breeder size females because I did that already. So I didn't want to repeat myself. So I was like, you know what? It's the holidays. I want to take a month off, and my number of subscribers was like 132 at that time per month. And by the time I looked at it in January, it was 80. Like 80 per month. That's how many subscribers I was getting at a monthly rate. My what do you call it? The money that I was getting paid got cut in half. And it literally took from January, when I started making videos again, all the way until July to get those numbers where they were, and before I stopped. So consistency is really important. Otherwise, they just like drop you from everything, and you have to start back up again. So if you're going to make a video, Phil.
Phil.
Be consistent.
Yeah, Phil. So make a video, first video, and then give it 2 weeks, and then do another video until you get comfortable. Do 2 weeks at a time. Start slow until you get comfortable, and then slowly go into a video once a week.
Yeah.
That's what I say. That's what I tell people.
Yeah. Phil left, by the way. He said leader man.
Oh no, he was talking to Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf
okay.
went to go. Phil's still here. Tell us you're still here, Phil. We know you're still here. That's what I tell people. Like, they're like, what? I'm scared. I'm not gonna have enough content. This is what I tell everybody. Your first 3 videos. First video, talk about your males. Talk about all the males in your collection. Show them off. Do that. Second video, talk about your females in your collection. Show them off. Let us know. Third video, talk about your breeding plans for that season or the upcoming season if you still have babies. Those are your first 3 videos right there. If you put them out 2 weeks at a time, that's a month and a half. Within that month and a half, you can come up with another idea for a video. And then you're already working ahead instead of working behind. That's what I tell people. Try to give them a little, and then once you get comfortable, you need to pick a day to try to release your videos and try to hit that same day. And after a while, people will become, what's the word? It's like a TV show. Yeah, accustomed to watching your video that day. So they'll instinctively look for your videos on that day and not realize that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they'll look forward to it. I mean, I look forward to a lot of other people's videos. I look forward to Justin's videos, but now his videos are shorter and shorter and shorter. They were like 10 minutes, then became 8 minutes. Now he's releasing videos of like 5 minutes. I was like, I could really use another minute of looking at your snake.
Yeah, understandable. He has some beautiful stuff. I just seen
great stuff.
Did he hatch out? I think it was him. The Red Hood. I think that was him.
Yes, he said. Well, they made the name up for that particular animal, but he didn't actually hatch it yet. Like, he said he wants to leave that name for like this particular 3-gene morph, and what he got was already like 4 or 5 genes. So he's like they'll have different names. I'm sure Chase will come up with some cool names. But yeah, he wants to leave the name like the Red Hood to that one particular 3-gene combo. Yeah,
the nerd in me wants to make a Batman. I don't want to go buy one. I want to actually make a Batman. Mm-hmm. So I'm about to start buying the ingredients for it and try to hopefully do it. But then I'm also going to try to make it an albino.
So what would you buy? This is interesting because I always like to hear people's strategy. Like, I think it's great that you're going to make it. I mean, like I said, the journey is most of the fun, at least in my mind. But I always like to hear people's strategies as to what they're going to purchase. So if you want to make a Batman, which is what, leopard spot-nosed clown, right?
Yes.
So what would you buy? What would you look for if you had all the animals that could make that Batman, if they were all available on Morph Market for you to select from? What would you select as your male and female?
So it's going to be difficult because I want to get albino in it too. So I do have an albino clown male that I'm growing up. So part of me wants to go buy a leopard spot nose female, a breeder size leopard spot nose female, either close to breeder size or a proven breeder, and breed my albino clown to her and try to produce leopard spot nose double head albino clown, hopefully a male, get a male out of that and breed it to my het females and my visual albino het female and go that way. But then I've been told to, if you can't afford it, buy closer to what you want.
If you can't afford it, steal it. I got you. All right, keep going.
So if I could afford it, I would try to find a leopard spot nose het clown male and breed it to my het clown females, make a visual Batman, and then slowly work albino into it later. So those are my two kind of routes that I'm trying to figure out which is the best for me and what would keep me from going crazy when I don't hit the odds I'm hoping to hit, which I'm assuming that's going to happen. That's just how I'm going into every project now, assuming I'm not going to hit the odds I want, and it's not going to hit that first year because it keeps me from going crazy in my head.
That's really interesting. I think like if you have the passion to create it, like you see something and you want to create it, if you have that passion, the goal to do it, then definitely I think those options that you just said make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like you said, like there's also a business aspect to it too, right? So if you're not really interested in taking the journey to make it, but you still want the animal, I think there's a new well, maybe it's not new, maybe it's just like coming into the mainstream, but I think the mentality was probably already there, where you just buy the most expensive male that you can afford. You breed it to all your females. You get a bunch of high-end, or hope for high-end hatchlings.
Mm-hmm.
You sell those, and then you buy your Batman that you want.
Exactly.
You know, that's the other way. That's the other way to go. It's just to buy what you want, but you start off by buying something that is that'll just make you money. So there's the two mentalities. One is like the hobbyist mentality of making what you want, you're following your passion, and then the other one is just, how do I get to the top? How do I get to the top the fastest? What's the quickest route?
Yeah.
And so like you kind of have to find your balance, what you're comfortable with. You know?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes
that's another thing.
Go ahead.
That's another thing I tell people that are always asking me, should I start a YouTube channel? I don't have a lot of snakes. Well, sometimes people don't necessarily care how many snakes you have. They want to see that journey. They like to see that journey of people going from 5 snakes to 20 snakes and seeing them learn on that. They like to see that. People want to see that.
I think the journey is important. Like just to finish off real quick, like sometimes I would actually put a powerhouse male to a female just so I can make the hatchlings and sell them off. But I only do that when the female doesn't want to lock with the male that I have in mind.
Okay.
Right? Like because I don't want to just make a clutch that I'm going to sell. But if the female wants to lay, but she just doesn't like that particular male that I have in mind for her, like I don't want to waste her entire season.
Exactly.
And produce a bunch of slugs. So yeah, I would just get like probably like something really cool, like my dreamsicle, and put it to her, even though I'm not really wanting to make, hide het lavenders anymore. But I know that those I can move. Yeah. And then use that fund to buy something that I really want. And again, that's still like progressing my hobby. That's still progressing the project. So I don't see anything bad about it. But in terms of creating YouTube videos, if you're new, you have an advantage because you get to show people everything that you learn. Whereas if you're already at Justin's level, you can tell he's not really showing the amount of new stuff that he's learning is like small. It's tiny because he's already got so much experience. But if you're new, you can show people the journey and just show them your take on that journey. You don't have to be right. You just have to be true to what you've done and how you've accomplished or leaped over that hurdle or whatever it is. So, but then you get to a point where you're like 3 or 4 years in, and the amount of information that you can learn starts to dwindle, right? But like I said, my last year, I didn't have that much new learnings, and at the same time, I didn't have enough clutches to continue into December. So there was a down period. So when you get to like a certain point, you do struggle a little bit. But then after that, I think like this year, for example, I have plenty of content because I have more females, more clutches.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that kind of just keeps me going. It keeps it simple. I don't even have to think about, what do I have to create this week? Because it's like, well, I'm just creating whatever I see, whatever female gave me the eggs, whatever is pipping, whatever is updating, whatever is shedding. That's the
Exactly.
content I get to create. So it does get simpler. So the tough part is just to get started. Get started,
Yeah.
and then just see where you
100%.
go. Just do your best. There will come a time, maybe you're 4 or 5 or 6 years in, where then it just becomes easy. Like now, I'm finding my rhythm, and I can just keep producing videos every week consistently. And I this year and last year actually, there came a point where I had so much activity going on that I'm like, I'm gonna have to start putting out 2 videos a week.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
did that. I did that for a little bit just to catch up, because otherwise I would have a clutch that's hatching, let's say in August, and because there's this backlog of videos, and I'm only producing one a week with 2 clutches hatching a week, then I have a backlog, and by the time I get to like, clutch 20, showing clutch 20 on my YouTube videos, I would already be hatching clutch 28. you
Yeah.
know so you get this like big lag in time, and that's actually
Yep.
what's happening right now. So the Desert Ghost clutch that I'm going to show this Sunday actually happened a month ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it actually happened a month ago. So
Oh,
like I said,
wow.
I have this backlog right now, and I'm kind of like stuck. I'm trying to play catch up, trying to get the stuff out as fast as I can, and it's hard to keep it all like organized in my head,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't want to put too many Instagram pictures of my Desert Ghost clutch when I haven't pushed out the video of the hatchlings of the egg cutting yet. So it gets a little bit tough, but it's still fun, and I think that keeps it interesting, because otherwise it might get a little bit boring for me. Like this, uh, just the kind of person I am. I get bored very easily.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
So I have to challenge myself and make it
Hmm.
very difficult for myself.
That makes perfect sense. So here's my last question of the night. If you have any questions, guys, put them in the comments if I can see them. Because we've been having a good conversation, so I've been missing a lot of questions in there. But you guys have been talking to each other, which is awesome. Keep doing that. I love that. I love all the comments in the comments. You guys participating, love it, appreciate it so much. Make sure you hit that like button because YouTube likes it, and I guess I like it that YouTube likes it. But my last question of the night: what is your dream morph to make?
Yeah,
There's that look.
that's a
I
tough
love
one.
that look.
That's a tough one, because it's tough because I have in my mind a picture of a snake, and
Hmm.
it's definitely clown. It's definitely like either Special or Russo, because they're very similar. Special and Russo
Yeah.
looks very similar in a clown. Definitely Entry, definitely Fire. But like it's tough because I don't know what else to add to make it better. Like I said, let's go with Russo for just to make it simple. Like Russo, Clown, Enchi, Fire, right?
Hmm.
Like I think I've seen something like that, and maybe instead of Fire it had Enchi or something like that. Um, but like all those genes, I'm just thinking like all the genes that I can add to it without subtracting from that animal. Like I can add Enchi, I can add Orange Dream, I can add Yellow Belly, and there's like so many new genes coming about. I have the resurgence gene that I'm working with, which is not really
Yeah.
the name of the gene; it's just an alias that I gave. People always confuse that. Um,
Yeah.
there's just like so much more you can add to it to make the colors more intense, the reds more intense, the black outlines more intense, and just make it not even look like a clown anymore. And like I said, I have a picture of it in my mind. I just can't explain it. And so the closest answer I can give you would be like a Fire Enchi, let's say Fire, Enchi, Yellow Belly, Orange Dream, Russo, Clown.
Oh wow. Fire, Yellow Belly, Orange Dream, Russo, Clown.
And Enchi. Remember
Energy,
Enchi?
Energy, yeah. Fire, Yellow Belly, Itchy, Russo,
Yeah.
Clown.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't put Pied in there.
No.
I'm actually surprised. Um,
I really like Pieds, but it's with Pieds, I'm going in a slightly different direction where I'm trying to just create like chunks of solid color with chunks
okay,
of the whites. Um,
okay,
but I feel like even though Pied is my favorite recessive, there's more limitations when it comes
yeah,
to Pieds.
yeah,
Whereas Clowns, I feel like there's a lot more room to put in there. There's a lot more canvas, right? So that's why like my dream would be to make something, and I'm not even going like double or triple or whatever quad recessive.
hmm
I just like ever since I saw that special clown, um, I'm just thinking like, what else can I add to it? What else can I put into it? Lace would be something. Lace would be something else that you can add to it,
yeah.
or super lace that would really help intensify the colors without subtracting anything from it. Like I wouldn't want to put pastel. Like pastel Russo just ruins everything. I do like pastel. I have pastel in my collection. There's a place for pastel. I'm not a
Yeah,
pastel hater, but I think in that particular combo, what I'm envisioning, it doesn't have pastel.
yeah, yeah. Finding the right genes to work together to make something
Yeah,
that you want to figure out what the outcome is. I already know what half of this might look like.
yeah,
It's
and
that
that's
other half putting it together, and I'm not sure how
yeah,
it's gonna interact with each other.
right,
Um,
and that's why it's a dream. Because if I tell you if it exists, it's just called reality, right?
very true, very true. So, how close are you to making that?
I haven't even well, I have one animal that has Russo and Clown in it.
Okay,
I have a bunch of other animals that have like the other genes, like an Enchi Orange Dream Clown. I have
okay,
Mahogany Yellow Belly Clown. It's gonna take a while to
okay.
basically like breed that Russo clown to all these females. Hopefully, I get what I need in the right sex ratio, and then try to
hmm
bring them back together. You know, basically, I'm going to be breeding nephews and nieces together for a while.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to pull away from that a little bit just with the albino because the
Mm-hmm.
albino is so inbred. It's been inbred for so long.
Yeah,
It's I'm trying to get a whole new gene or a whole new morph to come in to breed my albinos to start that to be where my lineages is just to get maybe a little more less. I don't know how to say this without
less
sounding.
inbreeding, more
Yeah,
diversified.
yeah. So because I this is the first year, no, second year I've had albinos that had issues. Like I had one that had
Okay.
no eyes. I had two that had one eye, and then I had one with small eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get some more better genes in there to not have so much of an inbred issue with
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Um, which sucks because I love my albinos. Um,
yeah. It's tough parting. It's tough parting with it. Like you you brought up two things that I wanted to touch on. One of them was the inbreeding stuff. Like even when you buy two animals that you think are completely unrelated, you get one of them from California and one of them from
yep.
Florida. You put them together, and it's like, why did I get shark jaw? Why did I get kinks? Why did I get no eyes? But then you breed those to separate animals, and they come out perfect. They come out completely fine. Like that's what happened to me. I think 2 years ago, I have a black pastel pied female, and I bred it to a cinnamon pied male. And I, I knew that the 8 ball could have problems. I knew that there's possibility of kinking. But I've made sure that the breeders came from separate. They came from separate breeders, and I thought that having one be cinnamon and one be black pastel might reduce the risk. Well, it turned out the entire clutch, not just the 8-ball, but the entire clutch had sharp mouth. So it wasn't even the black pastel and cinnamon related issue. It was just that those two particular animals might have been too closely related. And so you're going to run into those issues. But this year, I put that same black pastel female to my cypress het pied male, and got all healthy babies. So it's not a problem with her. It's not a problem with that other pied male. It's a problem with those two together. So you're going to get that. What was the other point that I wanted to talk about? I told you there's 2 points.
You told me you had 2 points, but you were.
What were you saying? One was about the.
We were talking about inbreeding albinos and pulling newer genes into it to give it the genes more life. But I am thinking about putting toffee or candy into my albinos to give it. That might give it a different life, but it does change the color. I mean, there's still albinos. There's just a different shade of albino to an extent. I'm still debating on it. I don't know. It just looks a little too different for me. I might be a purist, or what I consider a purist. I don't even know. I might just be bougie or something. But it just looks. The candy. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. It looks great, but I can tell it's different than albino.
Oh yeah.
And it just mentally messes with me. So I don't know if that's a route I want to necessarily go.
I was the same way. I was like, I like albinos. I like it. Like you said, maybe we're just being purist here. And having that allelic reaction just kind of messes it up a little bit. But to be honest, like my very first female that bred for me was an albino. And I knew from the breeder, he said that he did put a pastel Candino to her. So she had like maybe 2 or 3 locks with it. So he told me that, you might not need any more locks. She might just go for you, and she might not even be receptive to another male. But I was okay with it. I mean, I just wanted to see if I could breed it. So I ended up buying her, and she bred for me. All the babies turned out healthy. Everything was fine. But yeah, she was another one where if I bred my albino male to her, there would be some issues. Maybe one of them would have no eyes, or maybe one of them would be kinked out of that clutch. And I tried it 2 years in a row just to make sure, and both times it was confirmed that there would be one bad one in that clutch. And all the other related animals, like so if there's one bad one from the clutch, the other 5 are good, right? One bad out of 6, the other 5 are good. Out of the other 5, I might keep one back as a male. If I breed that male back to her, I would also get a couple issues with those babies. So I definitely knew that it was something to do with that particular lineage. Because if I took a unrelated one and I bred it to her, she'd be able to produce perfectly fine hatchlings. So yeah, it does suck a little bit, because you spend a year raising up the male, you spend 3 years raising up the female, only to find out they're not compatible.
That does suck. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever had? This is not even one of my questions, but I just thought about. Have you ever had a male that just wouldn't breed for you?
There's been some stubborn males, but there's a lot of things that you can try. I mean, like we can go through it if you're having issues, but just off the top of my head, you can put a male with a female that does want to breed, right? Just to give him some experience.
Okay.
Right. so that like obviously if you put two virgins in together and the male doesn't want to breed, he doesn't even know what to do. Maybe that's the issue. But if you put him with an experienced female and she's receptive and she does the tail wagging, she'll lift her tail up, and then he's like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to do this thing. And then for future females, he might be like, oh, if she's not lifting up her tail, I still know to scoop under and lock, you know. So that will help if you put him with an experienced female. You can put the shed from another mature male with your stubborn female. You can also get the sperm plugs from another mature male with your stubborn male. You can put two males together with the female for like a couple minutes. I would even say like just go up to 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't even have to be long.
Okay.
And then pull the one that you don't need out. Leave the stubborn male in with the female that you want him to breed to, and then he'll think that he just won a battle. He's like, oh, I have bragging rights now. You know, she's mine. I conquered her. You know, like there's all these different little things that you can try. I mean, not guaranteed it'll work. Maybe you have to do 2 or 3 of these things in combination to get him to breed, but eventually he'll breed. Also, feeding, like drop down on the size of prey, but feed more frequently.
Okay.
Because he'll think that there's an abundance of food, and that kind of triggers, you know, him into breeding, thinking that okay, this is a good time to breed because my babies will have a good survival rate because of all the abundance of food.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and you can also, like a lot of people say, you can time it with the weather, with storms, storm fronts, the barometric pressure, that also affects them. I mean, you can try dropping the temperature, maybe 3 degrees for like a couple weeks, and then bump it up to what it was, and then that kind of cycles him into thinking like, oh, I just went through like a winter, and now it's like springtime or something like that. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, just try it. Why? Do you have a stubborn male?
I have a desert ghost, butter, spider. That's all. I'm not bragging.
I have a.
Trust me, this is the first desert ghost I have in my collection. So I am just I'm behind on desert ghosts. I'm trying to make some het females to raise up.
How old is he? What's the size?
He is 3 years old. He's about 700, almost 800 grams. He's a beast eater. He eats with no hesitation. He gets in the tub and he'll go to one side and the other female will be on another side. I paired him with a proven breeder. I paired him with 2 different proven breeders, 1 virgin girl. I've put like sperm from a proven male on girls. He's in the tub with to try to get him going. I've done the shed thing. I haven't done him in the tub with another male with the female and then pull him out. So I'm gonna try that. And my friend Sick With It Ball Pythons told me to take him for a car ride. Just get him a different location, put him in the car, drive him around a little bit, and then bring him back and see if that doesn't maybe trigger something. So it's still the beginning of the season, so I'm not too worried. But he's got a lot of girls I want him to go to, so I'm like, hey, let's get this going, buddy. And I think most of them are ready because their follicles are around 10 millimeters, close to 12 millimeters, so they're prime real estate to be breeding right now. So
okay.
And I don't have a backup male for him, so
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, try those things. I think that having 2 males might help. He's also, is he fat or is he still lean?
He's not fat. He's very lean. He's still lean. Like that's the one I try to keep. I feed. Once my males get to a certain size, they only eat smalls. They either eat smalls.
Is he eating smalls now?
Yeah, he's eating smalls now. He's still eating smalls, and I'm trying this year to see if my males will continuously eat throughout the breeding season while they're breeding. So I might bump down their prey size a little bit to keep them eating, but he's still eating smalls with no hesitation.
Okay.
So
I would take him for a car ride. I think that car ride trick is more for females, but it could work for a male too. I mean, if you're going somewhere, you might as well
Yeah, I
put them
might
in
as
a
well
bag
try
and take them with you.
it.
You know, it's not going to hurt or anything.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I think dropping the prey size, feeding it more frequent. You might want
Okay.
to just fast them a little bit too. You know,
Okay.
because he might be used to like eating at this rate all the time.
Uh-huh.
So increasing the food might make him a little bit fat. So you might want to fast him a little bit, drop it down, feed a little bit less infrequently,
Okay.
and then ramp it up with smaller prey and more frequency. Because then there's a bigger change, right? There's a bigger
Yep.
delta.
Yep.
So that
Okay.
might trigger him. Yeah, just try different things.
Yeah.
Because usually males, I mean, like most
Yeah.
species, we're the ones that want to breed more.
Exactly. Exactly. I've not had an issue with a male. Well, I did. I had my lavender albino head clown. He was having an issue too, but he's starting to try to lock with girls. I think his issue was he felt a little too small for the girls. He's about close to 500 grams. He's starting to put a little more chunkiness on him, so he feels a little more confident. I feel. So
Okay.
he's trying to lock with him, so I'm not worried about him anymore.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. And I also found it. I found being more successful when you put the male with the female, like 4 or 5 days after they've had their meal. Like give them time to completely digest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be a little sluggish. They want to go to the warm end to digest, and they don't think about breeding. They're just thinking about digesting.
Gotcha.
So make sure they're fully digested.
Okay. All right. So if you haven't, go ahead and look in the description. Find Lucas Landon Royals Instagram, YouTube. I said the whole thing correct. I thought you was gonna say good job. Man. I was waiting for it because
I didn't want to interrupt you, man. You were plugging me. Why would I interrupt you at that point? Get through it. I appreciate you later.
Go ahead and hit that Facebook, Instagram. Hit the subscribe. Hit the follow button. Definitely go check out his TikTok because he only has 2 followers, which means I'm not following him, so I'm going to go follow him on TikTok as well. So we want more than 4 now because I'm number 3 and you guys should be number 4, 5, 6, 7. So definitely go check that out. Is there anything you want to promote, or you got any videos coming up you want to let the people know about?
Just I guess my YouTube is probably my main platform. So I would love it if everybody subscribes. I do have some content coming out. Like I said, there's a Desert Ghost one coming out this Sunday. Yep. I'm really excited about it, even though I've been looking at them for like a month. But I'm like so excited to share this video with other people. And like it's funny because I know I'm supposed to be like this is a last minute thing, but there's people who have already purchased some of these animals. And
really?
And they're like, is this another clutch? I'm like, no, you've already bought the best one out of this clutch. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, even though I've been looking at these animals. So if you guys want to take a look at it, make sure you subscribe. So this Sunday will be the egg cutting, and then the following 2 weeks will be updates for these Desert Ghost clutches that I've just hatched. And then the most anticipated clutch of the 2021 season, obviously it's going to be uploaded in 2022, but that's the Lemon Blast double het Axanthic Desert Ghost to a Lemon Blast double het Axanthic Desert Ghost.
Ooh, I'm definitely gonna be watching that one. Oh wow, especially after seeing what Justin did with the Desert Ghost Axanthic.
That guy beat me all the time. He's like, oh, I accidentally made a.
Yeah. He definitely put it out there like, oh, dang, I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, I guess I'll show it to you guys. But he definitely puts in work, so touche, Justin. But yeah, he's leading the pack, and he's leading it with beautiful stuff, but he's giving inspiration to people start to find their own path. That's why I didn't want to just go buy a Batman. I want to make my own Batman, but also put my own little flair onto it. So that's the plan. Yeah, so definitely look for Kai's video Sunday with the egg cutting for Desert Ghost and the sequential updates about that clutch throughout that week, or through those 2 weeks. And then look for this anticipated clutch he's going to put out a video on in 2022. I'm going to definitely, it's amazing to see double visuals, double recessive visuals when they hatch out. It's such a hard project to do, which technically I didn't realize, like, dream cycles have been around for a long time, and we really didn't. It's not that we didn't comprehend, we really didn't. I think we got little what's the word, oversaturated with it, and then realized that is a double recessive. Those are hard to hit, but they seem like they're around a lot more than other double recessives.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird that we don't see more double recessives around, but we're really starting to go towards that direction. To where we get into triple recessives. Like, I'm trying to make some triple hets this year, hopefully. So that is the next wave, is triple hets once these double recessives become more plentiful out there in the world. Very excited for that. Very excited.
And Main Squeeze just beat you to number 3 TikTok follower.
He beat me.
He just beat you, man.
I was trying to listen, so it's hard to do something on my phone. I'm listening. So I guess I'm gonna be number 4 unless somebody beats me there. All right, guys. Before we go, let me go ahead and say thank you to our sponsor for this episode. 1 second. Let me push the button. Boom. So this episode is sponsored by Essential Royals. They're a ball python breeder. This is their second year breeding ball pythons. Had a great first year. It's a father and 2 sons breeding ball pythons. Go check out their Instagram. We're working on getting them a YouTube channel. We're definitely going to push them to that. But definitely go check out their Instagram. Thanks again for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you guys showing all the love in the comments. Kai, thank you for showing up and being on the show. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks for
having me. I had fun. No problem. I had a ball. You got me going away thinking about some things, worrying about when I'm getting sick and how many animals I can take care of. That is going in my notes now, thinking about that. But this was it was a pleasure talking to you. I knew I was going to have fun. I didn't think I was going to have this much fun. You are an awesome dude. I'm a little upset myself I haven't talked to you before now, but I'm definitely going to be talking to you all the time, so get ready for that, just so you know.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys, thanks for coming. Just so you know, we have another mealtime video coming this Saturday, so look forward to that. But other than that, hope everybody's season's going good. Phil, we'll be looking for your video soon, so next Thursday? Next Thursday, Phil? All right, we're ready for it. I'm definitely going to be subscribing, so I'm going to be bugging you, Phil, so get ready for it. All right, guys, thanks for coming through, and hopefully I'll see you Saturday. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.